He hath borne himself beyond the promise of his age, doing in the figure of a lamb the feats of a lion. He hath indeed bettered expectation, and you must expect of me to tell you how. The epitaph fitting, of course, and inscribed on the program for the memorial service given here today for Tim Russert. At least 1,000 people celebrating his life. First in the private family ceremony this morning, featuring the presidential candidates side by side, as you heard. And then this afternoon at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Our #1 story in the countdown, our final goodbye to Tim Russert. Highlights of the eulogies, every word of them filled with heart and love and producing tears and laughs. And afterwards, one story of an extraordinarily generous act today from Tim's son, Luke, and a symbol to carry alongside our memories of Tim.
I want you to know at the outset that this is a celebration, and we're going to do it Irish style.
When I hold this up, some of you see a glass half empty, and some of you see a glass half full. For Tim Russert, his glass was always half full.
He was a boy of summer. He met his wife on a summer day. His son was born in summer. And so it is that we blow him a kiss goodbye on a soft summer eve. This sweetheart of a man who always left us smiling.
In my mind and heart, ever since Friday, June 13th, I hear God. Here's little Timmy Russert. You're in heaven now, Tim, where every day is Meet the Press. Welcome home.
And as Tim would look out on this gathering, he would say, "It's wild, it's wild." My family, my closest friends from near and far, the powerful, the ordinary, and the largest contingent of all in this room, those who think that they should be his successor on Meet the Press.
Over and over you hear people saying, all I saw was Tim on Sunday mornings on television. I never saw him in person, but I felt that I knew him. How do you explain that? It's not because he was a great journalist. His success as a journalist was enough to win him respect, but it was not enough to win him love. And that's what millions of people feel for him. They loved his genuineness, his integrity. When he said he was working to make politics a truly noble profession, they believed him.
He so loved being in the middle of the action. He so loved seeing history up close. And he loved to have stories to come back and share with everybody, to make you laugh, to make you feel as though you were there. Tim loved his life, and he loved life.
This is the one guest that Tim was never able to persuade to appear on Meet the Press. Ladies and gentlemen, from Europe, where he is on tour, the boss.
I want to send this out to Tim. Luke, this is for your pop.
He had a great time living, and is no doubt having the time of his life now in heaven. So I ask you this Sunday, in your hearts and in your minds, to imagine a Meet the Press special edition, live from inside St. Peter's Gate. Maybe Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr will be on for the full hour, debating.
Just as the spectacularly impressive Luke Russert has his father's DNA in him and has displayed that so brilliantly over these past several days. I'm telling our co-workers, so do we. We breathed in that air that Tim breathed out among us. He touched all of us. If not with that big made in Buffalo right paw of his that would come down on your shoulder through his friendship through his mentoring. He was our partner.
You'd say this is all part of life. We have to move forward, lean on each other, and cherish all the good times, and live every day to its fullest. But live it with honor and integrity, and always reach down to help someone else up. You'd say, take these incredible lessons of life that I leave with each of you and live them as you remember me.
Everyone has a purpose on earth, Tim once said. His, he believed, was to understand public policy, interpret political events, and inform the public. And how magnificently he practiced that chosen vocation.
Tim Russert had a larger-than-normal heart. Maybe it's because we were all occupying so much space in it.
To be as great as Tim was, you need a healthy ego, a good sense of self. But he always marveled that he had gotten Maureen North to fall in love with him. 4 years later, Judy and I went to New York to see the most memorable baby in almost 2,000 years.
I love you, Dad, and in his words, let us all go get him.
At 2:58 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this afternoon, not 4 hours after he delivered the eulogy at his own father's funeral, not 90 minutes before he was to reprise parts of it on stage in front of at least 1,000 people at the Kennedy Center, as you saw, in the midst of what would be for any of us a roil of emotions and an endless supply of challenges, that young man had assigned himself yet another task. The guy who was to host the coverage before the telecast of the memorial service for Luke Russert's dad felt a tug on the edge of his jacket and his name being called. "Just wanted to wish you luck on the air," Luke said to me. "I know it's tough." Perhaps generosity of spirit and selflessness at times of crisis can be passed on genetically, or maybe it's just taught by a really good father. Either way, Luke Russert has it in spades and has his father and his mother to thank. And one last note from here in Washington. Even if you do not believe in omens, the memorial ended with the playing of a recording of a ukulele version of the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And within minutes, as those of us who laughed and grieved left the Kennedy Center, we were stopped in our tracks by this: a vivid double rainbow, which had spread across Washington skies while we were all in that building saying goodbye. It may be cornball, and it may be easily explained by meteorological conditions of this turbulent spring in the Capitol. But if there's any way that a soul was behind that, I know that was Russert, and I'd recognize him anywhere. We are rebroadcasting this afternoon's memorial to Tim Russert in its entirety. Wonderful words from the likes of Maria Shriver, Tom Brokaw, Sister Lucille, Mike Barnacle, and Luke Russert. MSNBC tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern. If you didn't see it this afternoon, please watch it tonight. It is more than worth your time. That's countdown for this, the 1,876th day since the declaration of mission accomplished in Iraq. From Washington, I'm Keith Olbermann. Go Bills.